Hello everyone, this is Tamer Helmi, and today I'm going to talk to you about the common FDA Form 483 citation trends for pharmaceutical manufacturers. So usually based on the recurring themes in inspection observations and warning letter issued under 21 CFR Parts 210 and 211 and associated guidelines, we were able to compile the list and then rank them from the most common to a little bit less as far as their presence in the warning letter. So the first thing is always the investigation and CAPA failures. And this is very tricky, right? Because, this is the reference for it is 21 CFR 211-192. And the typical 483 language is usually around failure to thoroughly investigate unexplained discrepancies, inadequate root cause determination, recurring deviations without effective corrective action, OOS investigations lacking scientific justification. So what the FDA usually are targeting is superficial investigations. For example, when we say it's an operator error without evidence, right? So it's the most resorted to. People who always say it's a human error. Is it really or what? So that's the question. Then lack of impact assessment on distributed lots. If it's a lot that has an issue, we have to assess if there was an impact on that lot release. Next to that is the failure to trend repeat events. CAPAs that are procedural, not systemic. And then the systemic weakness indicator for this point is it shows weak quality unit authority and poor quality risk management integration. And for the executives, the risk is it escalates quickly to warning letter if repeat patterns are found. So we always have to have a scientific justification to the investigations. We have to have a root cause analysis properly investigated. We also perform a corrective action or CAPAs and then CAPA effectiveness later. So these are all elements that need to be fulfilled to have no issues with the FDA inspectors. The second part is regarding the data integrity deficiencies. And the regulatory anchor for that is 21 CFR 211-68 and 211-194. So common findings related to data integrity is related to failure to review audit trails, shared login credentials. You don't want a few people sharing, I know, this is the only one password that we have here for this instrument. We cannot do that. Backdating entries, it's a no-no, obviously. Unofficial testing or trial injections. Missing raw data for validations or qualifications. What the FDA is actually evaluating here is governance over electronic systems or culture of data transparency, right? And then management awareness of data practices. The systemic weakness indicator for this, it shows that there is inadequate oversight of laboratory and production documentation systems. And for the escalation risk, to this specific data integrity issue is the high data integrity findings frequently trigger expanded inspection scope. So keep that in mind while you are preparing for your audits. The third one is the inadequate written procedures, SOP controls. Basically, the regulatory anchor for that is 21 CFR 211-100A. And the typical citations are related to procedures not followed. The most common thing is you need to follow your own procedure. Then procedures lacking sufficient detail or practices observed that contradict with written procedures. And what that tells us or tells the inspectors is that the procedural document written for compliance, not operations. So the procedure has to be written for the actual operations, to the operators, not to an imaginary entity, right? So that has to be exactly to serve its own purpose. And then it also indicates when we have these findings, it indicates weak training and procedural enforcement. And it indicates as well lack of periodic SOP effectiveness review. And the executive insight for that is that the FDA sees this as governance failure, not just documentation failure. Next aspect, which is commonly cited by the FDA, is the aseptic processing and contamination control gaps. So the regulatory anchor for that is 21 CFR 211-113B. And the frequent observations are inadequate smoke studies, poor aseptic techniques, environmental monitoring deficiencies or no trending, inadequate gowning practices, very easy to detect, incomplete contamination control strategy, and everybody should be aware of that. So what the FDA is assessing here is a holistic contamination control system, operators qualification rigor, and then facility and equipment design robustness. And if you haven't seen, one of my videos is related to the facility design and how it gets you into compliance, specifically for the contamination control strategy as a whole. Now, next, we are going to talk about the systemic weakness indicator for the contamination control errors or weaknesses or issues that they are detected by the FDA inspectors. The weakness here shows disconnect between the facility design, the process control, and contamination risk assessment. And again, check out the video related to the facility design and how it impacts the contamination control strategy. You need to design the facility keeping in mind that you need to work in an aseptic environment or final sterile compounds, etc. Risk level for this is very high risk level because of sterile manufacturing. Usually there is a product risk or recall risk. The next most common warning letter citation is related to the cleaning validation and cross-contamination. So the regulatory reference for that is 21 CFR 211-67. The common issues usually related to inadequate cleaning validation protocols, worst case product selection, unjustified, hold time studies missing or unsupported, lack of ongoing verification. What the FDA is looking for here is scientific-based residue limits, robust change management, validation lifecycle management. So these are the aspects that the FDA are looking at. Next to that is the Quality Unit Independence Authority. That's one of the most cited citations here. So why is that? Because the regulatory reference in 21 CFR 211-22 always requests or asks that the quality unit has to have independence and has to express its authority, and QC has to have its role. So the observations often include QA not reviewing batch records adequately, operations influencing quality decisions, and we all know this in this industry, that operations, their objective is to produce batches and then get them out of the door, understandably. But then quality has to play its role by making sure that everything is compliant, and it will help the operations. So this way, there is no issues later on that will come back with a recall or any contamination or any aspect of that. So quality and operations should work in tandem together with collaboration to be able to have a good, safe, and quality product. So with that in mind, usually there is the FDA cites when it feels like there is a push from operations to influence quality. And then the release decisions lacking full review. So these are cited. And what that signals is organizational governance weakness, and that the FDA is increasingly evaluates reporting structures and management oversight. Number 7 of the most cited issues is the stability program deficiencies. Now, the regulatory anchor for that is 21 CFR 211-166. The trends here are inadequate stability indicating methods, that insufficient stability commitment, failure to trend stability data, incomplete reserve sample retention. Number 8 is the equipment and facility control issues. What are these here? In 21 CFR 211-63 or 211-42, the common citations for the equipment and facility control issues related to inadequate maintenance documentation, equipment not qualified appropriately, facility design allowing cross-contamination risk. Again, go back again to my video about the facility design into compliance. Number 9 is related to supplier qualification and component testing. So the reference 21 CFR to 1184, the frequent findings here related to inadequate supplier qualifications, skipping identity testing on components, COA reliance without verification. You need to verify. Obviously, COA says something. Did you verify? The last most cited issue through the 483s is the trending and quality metrics deficiencies. And while not always cited directly under a single regulation, FDA frequently notes failure to trend complaints, lack of statistical process monitoring, or no management review evidence. And this ties to expectations aligned with ICH Q10, which is related to pharmaceutical quality system. So with that in mind, I would like people to review all these 10 points and make sure that their facility is ready and prepared for audits and cover all these aspects, because they are the most clear ones, and auditors from the FDA, they always look for issues in that sense. And the reason for that is obviously they are not trying to get you or anything, but they want to make sure that your quality systems are robust and it can support a good quality, safe product. If you have any questions or you find value of this video, please do not hesitate to contact me for audit preparedness or mock audits, or also to just support this channel. It takes me some time to produce these videos, make sure that they come out in a good shape. So please feel free, to do all the support actions like subscribe, etc. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you guys in a different video really soon. Hello everyone, this is Tamer Helmi. If you like the content of this channel, please consider subscribing, liking, commenting, and supporting the channel.